In this video I want to show you how to make a pulled handle for a mug. Here we have a couple examples of pulled handles, and you can see this handle is attached to the mug here, and then this clay has been stretched and pulled, and then the bottom has been attached down there. This is another example of a pulled handle with a little bit of a different attachment at the bottom. Now this handle was pulled directly from the mug, so when this handle was being pulled, it was held like this and the clay was stretched until it was this shape, and then the mug was turned over and pressed against like that. This handle is a little bit different, where it has a little bit less of a thumb connection here and more of a direct connection. So pulled and then connected directly. So here I have the mug that I threw the other day. It's set up, it's just leather hard. I can still kind of change its shape a little bit. I could pinch really hard and leave a fingerprint in it, but it's pretty set up. I want to clean up the bottom, get rid of this edge, smooth out the bottom, and then put a handle on it. So I can use a rib, you can use the table and lightly roll your mug like this to create a beveled edge on the bottom. And then I like to tap the bottom a little bit to create a little bit of a concave space under there so it'll set nice and flat on the table. So you can pull the handle separately and let it set up and then attach it once it's leather hard, or you can pull it directly from the mug. I'm going to show you both ways in this video. So first we'll pull it separately and set it aside and let it set up, and then we'll pull a handle right from a mug body. To start, you want to make a carrot-shaped lug of clay. The end of the carrot lug is important. We want it to be a nice rounded shape, no big gaps. Any creases in this need to be smoothed out. Okay. So when pulling a handle, we're going to work over our bucket of water. Going to hold it in one hand in our fingers like this, and then we're going to stretch the clay with our other hand. And we're going to use this rounded part of our hand here to create the rounded handle shape. So the shape of a handle should be kind of like the shape of your hand, since that's how you hold it. I'm going to dip this in water and dip our whole hand in water, and then we're going to apply a little bit of pressure and stretch that clay just a little bit of pressure. Then I'll rotate and stretch it some more. If it gets dry at all, you need to add a little bit more water. Rotate, stretch. Really think about the way you're holding your hand and how you're applying pressure. Think about how you can shape this piece of clay. Sometimes you'll want to do the sides. Continue to stretch. Once you feel like you've stretched the clay to the right proportions, notice how this is wider this direction and thinner this direction. And that's going to make for a nice handle that you can hold between your thumb and your forefinger and give you nice control over your mug. But this is a straight piece of clay, right? We need it to bend. So we're just going to tip it over, let it bend naturally, and then we can set it on the edge of the table or something and let it dry this way. Now I can let that sit there and dry in that bent shape. When it starts to set up to where I can handle it, I can cut that clay off. I can cut the handle here, and I can attach that to my leather hard mug. Now I want to show you how to pull a handle from the body of the mug. You need to start with some pretty wet clay, and we're going to create a carrot shape. And since with most handles we want to have this oval shape at the connecting point, I'm going to make this into an oval shape to start with. This will be kind of a flattened carrot. A little bit wider at the top than it is at the bottom. And I'll come in with my fettling knife, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this at an angle. And that's going to allow me to attach this to the mug at this vertical angle, and that'll become apparent why that's important in a minute. This is quite a bit of clay. I don't think I need so much clay for this handle, so I'm just going to cut a little bit of it off. You typically don't need very much clay when making a handle for a mug. I cut that to be rounded, so the end of my handle will be rounded. I'm going to decide where I want to place this handle on this mug. I want to have kind of a larger handle, so I'm going to go from the top and have it hit down here at the bottom. I'm going to use the mug itself as I'm supporting on the interior. I'm going to press the slug against it to shape that to fit. Then I'll trace around. Set this aside. Now where I traced, I'm going to score that really well, slip and score. Once you've slipped and scored both surfaces really well, we're going to attach this lug to the mug. Attach the lug to the mug. Really want to make sure it's on there really well. And we're done. Beautiful. Well, now we want to pull this handle, shape it. So notice how it's going up at an angle. We're going to hold it upside down and do the same thing we did when we were pulling the handle separately, but we're just going to have it attached to the mug. You have to be very careful when you're pulling this that you don't pull it right off of the mug. I often will check this connection, make sure it's still really good before as I go. I continuously turn the handle to make sure that it's stretched evenly. Once I'm satisfied with the shape of the clay, then I'll allow it to drape down. I'll score where it's going to touch. A little bit of moisture. And then come in and compress that against the mug. Got to make sure it's straight on there. Then once it's compressed down, you can come in and give it some shape. Now this clay is very, very soft, but this is leather hard, so these two things need to dry very slowly or this will want to crack off. So what I typically do is once I pull a handle, then I will lightly wrap the whole entire mug with plastic and let it sit for about 24 hours wrapped up in plastic. That helps the two pieces kind of equalize in their moisture content. Then I'll come back and clean up or reshape things as I see fit.